A Light in the Darkness Chapter 26, Fan Fiction by Azazyel. The day was here. The day we left this shitty pollution-filled hellhole of a city that I had all but been avoiding as much as I could by hiding either in my vault or the warehouse. I had awoken all to hell here on the Lower Hive. Once we had all the materials assembled and placed in a good location, Elesmere stood behind me as I made a couple of symbols with my hands to interact with the explosive arrays that would launch the walls and roof of the warehouse away. We had to be a good distance away from the expansion of the ship, so we didn't get crushed by the ship when it expanded. Blowing the walls in 3, I warned Elesmere, as did just that. In a couple motions the 4 walls of our warehouse were all but disintegrated by the controlled violent explosion that blew them outwards, with the roof and other debris being violently thrown aside as Elesmere the ship grew from its 5-meter-tall model size to a titanic 500-meter-long spaceship, smashing aside all the empty buildings that once accompanied our warehouse. Go. We need to load up before the guard gets here. I yelled as I ran into the settling dust cloud and made a hand signal, which remotely controlled the drawbridge-like loading bay so me, Elesmere, and I could literally throw the extra materials with impunity onto the load platform. Seeing as the rest of the materials we were loading up were chunks of very durable wraithbone and other materials like metal and such, we didn't need to worry about the blocks of materials breaking, and the materials certainly couldn't hurt the loading bay, which was made with cultivators fighting upon in mind. A couple minutes later, all the smoke was quickly sucked away from the air filtration system, and people were coming to see why the hell a massive ship 3 times the size of an Emperor-class Titan came out of fucking nowhere. We had already loaded up the multiple tons of materials using our super strength. Admittedly, Elesmere threw most of the materials into the ship with her telekinetic psychic powers, but either way, we quickly made our way to pick up the most important thing we set aside so it wouldn't be destroyed during the moving. Be careful. Don't break my kiln. I warned, as I kept an eye out on the people watching us in befuddlement as Elesmere telekinetically carried the now thoroughly chaos-tainted psychedelic-colored kiln I had been practicing my cultivation within. But of course, allowing me and Elesmere to just fly out of the city unchallenged was a hope and dream the Warhammer 40k universe spat upon, as instead of the usual guardsmen coming to kill whoever was making the ruckus was the very familiar grizzled face of Lucia Janaya, Imperator revered evangelist of the Alabaster Dawn, a branch of the Ecclesiarchy's Ebon Chalice. Get on the ship. I yelled, seeing the battle sister striding towards our ship with determination in her eyes. Halt and surrender, Psyker. Join the Emperor's light as one of his beacons. Lucia roared, but her only answer was the door of my ship slamming shut, and, absently, even as we ran deeper into the ship, I heard the dinging noise of the battle sister's railgun pistol's round slam into the pressurized back of the ship's loading bay. The face on that human woman. I need to remember that having a thick metal door to slam in their faces is sublime. Elesmere said cheerfully as we dashed down the straight tunnel and through the doors leading to the control room. Strap in quick, I said as I threw myself into the controlling seat of the ship, and a number of arrays bloomed into life in front of me before they changed to show a video feed of the surroundings of the ship. Let me at least give her a warning, I muttered as I hesitated at just launching the ship. Bah. You know they could put a tracker on, right? She questioned, but I doubted a tracker could survive space travel and still be powerful enough to reach across planets. Don't care really, I said as I tapped an array laid out on my chair to turn on the speakers outside the ship. Get off my ship. I said with my voice coming out clearly from the speakers of my ship. Lucia all but fled with my ship thrumming to life as she realized that all human and most other Xenos ships used high-temperature propulsion to get themselves off the surface of a planet. But her face twisted in surprise as soundlessly my massive spaceship gently curved in the air to aim straight into the polluted sky above us, and then with a light hum of parting air, the ship began to fly straight up like a rocket. Typically, such an odd angle of flight would make us be pushed into our seats due to G-forces and whatnot, but nope. My beauty of a ship in its control room was, in essence, a large round marble within the ship itself that would rotate and reorient itself as the ship moved to avoid distracting the pilots from the ship's high-speed movements. About to use a spatial break, to leave the planet's atmosphere now, I explained as I pushed several arrays and the whole ship shook as it used a great deal of the power I had accumulated for it to tear a massive gash into reality similar to an opening to the webway in front of the ship, allowing it to fly into the spatial tunnel. In less than 5 seconds of seeing a swirl of shadowy darkness in front of us, we broke through the spatial tunnel and were welcomed to the sight of endless stars filling our eyes. Next 15 chapters are on Patreon and Ko-Fi. Hey, if you like this and want daily uploads and to read early chapters, please drop a tip in my Ko-Fi https://ko-fi.com/Azazyel22926 or https://www.patreon.com/Azazyel, and your precious energy stones. It keeps me working on it. My commission rate is $15 per 1,000 words.